This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back. Hey, listen, you have a dog. You have some challenges with your dog when it comes to obedience or behavior. He's got answers. He's a problem solver when it comes to dog training. And we're going to dig into a lot of stuff today. First and foremost, if you have a question, instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. You can also reach us at 631-319-6275. As we talk to certified dog trainer at Argos Dog Training, Martin Wright is back on the program. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Steve. Thank you for having me back.
I love your approach. I love your approach, problem-solving dog trainer, because we're not calling you unless we have challenges. If our dogs are fantastic, yeah, we love them no matter what. We would just, roll with that. But there's always challenges that come up, I would imagine, right?
Definitely. So problem-solving dog trainer, there's a lot of different kinds of dog trainers. Like if you were competing with your dog, Steve, you would hire a dog trainer who does competition stuff. And they'll be kind of your coach to get you through it. If you were looking for a dog to, protect your house and protect your family, then you would be looking for a protection dog trainer. My thing is more working with families who love their dogs, but have some problems, with their dogs, whether it is the dog's pulling too much on the leash, not listening to commands, or even more serious problems. Those are the things that I really specialize in.
Gotcha. So I say we go right to, and this is Sarah from Austin who reached out last time we got together. She says, my 2-year-old rescue dog has separation anxiety. What's the first step I should take to help him feel better when I leave the house?
Oh, that's a good one. I get a lot of calls about that. So the thing about separation anxiety is that it's not what happens when you're outside of the house that causes it. It's what happens when you're home. So there's usually a couple of things that I notice are in common with people who have dogs with separation anxiety. These people tend to be really connected and really close to their dogs, so they let them be on the couch whenever they want to be, and they're cuddling with them. They let them sleep in the bed. But those things are bringing our dogs closer to us, when the problem is that they have a problem with separation. So just simple little things. Having your dog not sleep on your bed is going to help with separation anxiety. Making rules about getting on the couch when they can and letting them know that boundary exists, that's going to help with separation anxiety. But probably the biggest thing that you can do is true and real fun crate training. Is the biggest thing that you can do for separation anxiety.
I wondered about that, whether crate training is still a thing, and can it be a thing even if your dog is older?
Yes, it sure can be a thing. As a matter of fact, it's a fun game. If you do it the right way, it's a fun game. Now, a lot of the times crate training is misunderstood. A lot of people for a lot of years said that crate training the dog was just put the dog in the crate and let him cry it out. To me, that is not crate training a dog. Crate training a dog is teaching the dog to run enthusiastically and happily into the crate when you ask them to stay in the crate with the door open until you give them a release from that, and then allowing them to continue to do that with the door open until they build up a history of being calm in the crate. And then closing the door becomes pretty easy. Anywhere you put the crate, the dog is going to know the crate is a calm place. When you leave your home, a dog with separation anxiety, we have to be cautious because a lot of the times they can damage themselves, especially with the severe cases. They can hurt themselves. They can do really dangerous things. So the crate makes it so that even if they do go through serious anxiety while you're away, it makes it so that they cannot hurt themselves. They can't chew through walls. I had somebody call me a few years ago with a dog that jumped out of a second floor window. Those kind of things can't happen if the dog is in the crate,
Okay, so questions on that. And a lot of us, myself included, as I think back, used the crate when they were puppies. And it was all good. And now they're not in the crate. Now, let's say things have changed. maybe job situations and everything has changed, and now you're seeing separation anxiety. Maybe you're seeing your dog peeing on the floor a little bit more, and you're thinking, all right, gotta go back to the crate. How do you how do you bring the crate back and do it in such a way that the dog is going to say, yeah, that's my second home. I want to go in there. I'm looking forward to it.
So the thing is, it's all about gameplay, right? With most dogs, a lot of dogs, they love food, right? So if you love food, then my thing is to try to get you to associate food and initially in the beginning, associate the things you love with the crate. What I do is I usually tell my clients to set their watch for like 3 minutes. That's the first thing. You don't want to practice forever. Put the crate down in a space where there's a little bit of a runway, a little space for your dog to run even 6, 7 feet. Sit next to the crate and throw treats on the ground and let your dog run to pick up the treats. You don't throw them into the crate, just throw them and let the dog run. After 3 minutes, stop your practice. Come back the next day, do the same thing. When the dog believes that the game is just about running after the treats and not thinking about the crate, although the crate is there, then you want to drop a treat in front of the crate. Watch your dog. If the dog runs to the treat that's in front of the crate at the same speed that they're running to the treats that you're throwing away from the crate, then you could continue to go closer and closer until the dog is running into the crate. Always mind your 3 minutes, right? Don't
Ooh.
go over 3 minutes. You don't have to. You could do it multiple times a day, but don't go over your 3 minutes. And then from there, once you have the dog running into the crate, now let's say the dog doesn't run to the crate at the same speed that they're running when you drop it in the treat in front of the crate. Then what you do is you do two in front of the crate, eight away from the crate. Two in front of the crate, eight away from the crate.
Wow.
And then soon what will start to happen is the dog is going to start to run to those two that's in front of the crate at the same speed that they're running to the other eight. And that's when you're ready to start moving ahead and start dropping treats in the crate, right?
Wow.
You can't
Okay.
let them think that you're giving them a treat because they're going into the crate. You can't lure them in with the treat. That's not the way you really want to think about it. You want them to think, hey, this is a fun game where mom throws treats on the ground and all I have to do is run and get them and eat them, right?
That's
And
awesome.
then when they're convinced of that, then you go into the crate.
So before we go to another question, I just want to ask a question about a situation I'm aware of. And that is, and this is kind of common with blended families, dog resides every other week at a different location. Now, dog doesn't, uh, is seems very happy, but could there be any issues there, with the dog and the dog's best interest? Is there any issues having two separate households?
Not really. Not really. To make it easier on the dog, you want to have as similar a structure, as similar a schedule as possible. But even so, if the dog is raised from a puppy, from an 8 week puppy, and that's always it's always been, then
Yes.
they should get used to that pretty easily, and they should
Yeah.
adjust to it pretty easily. Sometimes there will be problems, but that happens also in houses where there is only one house. So you're gonna have with any dog, you're gonna have little things that you have to overcome as a family.
I have another question here. Let me just scroll down. And by the way, I love the fact that you are a problem solver, because that's what we're dealing with here. And a
We
lot of
need them
times,
to.
we kind of suck it up and just say, all right, that's the way it's going to be. But it doesn't have to be. If you're looking for a certain type of uh, behavior from your dog. This is Jason from Las Vegas and says, my dog growls when someone approaches his food bowl. How do I handle that situation safely?
All right. When someone approaches, so there's a lot of different someones, right? If it's the dog growls when I approach as the owner,
Mm,
or a family member approaches the food bowl, then there's things that we should do. But either way, we should tell everybody when the dog is eating, leave the dog alone. That's number one. I never correct growling. Growling is a sign that the dog feels uncomfortable. What I do is I start to teach the dog instead of thinking about protecting the food, when I approach, something better is going to happen, And don't necessarily need the food bowl in order to start teaching this. The dog might be playing with their toy. I see the dog playing with their toy. I walk over, I drop a piece of chicken and keep walking. The dog is in the kitchen, they're eating at their food bowl. I don't get close because I don't want the dog to growl, but I have a little piece of cheese and I throw it from where I am. Just throw it near the bowl. And in time, what will start to happen is as you approach, the dog is going to turn, going to look at you and get excited. They're going to be happy that you're approaching instead of thinking that you're coming to take their
Gotcha.
food,
Love it.
right?
I believe we have a call. Who's this?
Yes, this is Justin. How are you?
Hey, Justin. Do you have a dog question for Martin?
Yeah, we're gonna bring home a new baby dog for next month, and as well as that, how do I prepare for a new puppy?
Now, what a great question, because it reminds me of baby being born and you're bringing a baby home. How do we do that, Martin?
All right. Thank you for the question, Justin, and congratulations on the addition to your family. I wish you guys the best of luck going forward. What I do is, first of all, any prep you can do, any books, if you're interested in dogs, any books you could read about dogs before the puppy gets there, that's going to be very helpful. Another thing is starting to lay out schedules and plans. We know that dogs need to go out, so putting everybody in place so they're able to let the dogs out at their convenient times, those things are possible and things that are important to do. Getting a crate. Getting a crate, the right sized crate for your puppy, sizable so you could size it up for your dog. That's really important. Puppy proofing, going through the room or the area where you're going to keep your puppy and making sure that you remove anything that can be dangerous, block anything, like wires and things like that, hide them,
Hello?
put them in cases.
Yep.
That could be a good thing.
Wow. I didn't even think about that. Making sure that your dog is safe in your home. It's like, is it like having a baby? Everything we're saying here, I'm seeing flashes of a baby or a toddler, baby proofing your home, getting the nursery ready for the baby coming home. That would be the crate. It sounds that way. Do you approach it that way?
It is very similar to a baby. The thing though is that puppies are much more developed than a newborn baby is,
Ah.
they're able to move around, they're much more curious, they're checking out the world a lot more than a baby would be. So there's a lot of similarities, though. We have to make sure, just like how we use a playpen for a baby, once they get to that age where they're crawling and they're starting to toddle around, we got to make sure that our puppy is comfortable with the crate. The crate is the playpen, you know. Also
Ah.
making sure that we don't give the puppy too much in the beginning. A lot of people like to let the puppies just run around the whole house. I like to keep my puppies mainly in the kitchen. That's where we hang out because the floor is nice for puppies, and we hang out there and either they're in their crate or we go to the kitchen until they get a little bit older and they're able to handle more.
You really think
That
of this in
way,
a different way, Martin, because if I had a puppy, and I did 8 years ago, now I was 8 years older. It's so cute, the puppy. Let him run, let him play. Well, that may not be the best thing for him.
yeah, we have to be because they don't understand the whole world the way that we understand it, and we want to set it up so that way it's easier for us as the puppy develops into a juvenile, into an adolescent, and ultimately into an adult. So we want to make sure that we're setting our structure correctly.
Another puppy question. I don't know. Puppies are, I don't know, it's puppy day. I don't
I
know.
love puppies. I love puppies.
Yeah. How could you not? Emily in Searsport, Maine says, what's the best way to introduce a new puppy to my older dog?
Very slowly. That's the best way. What I would do, now I don't know your older dog. You have to know your dogs. If everybody's friendly, then it's not the biggest deal. You just wait till the puppy's a little bit tired, and then you would introduce them. That's the way I would kind of go about it. I would make sure that they're able to sniff each other, smell each other for an hour, 2 hours before I introduce them, using a baby gate or something like that. The bigger concern is if the older dog is not friendly. And if that's the case, then you should definitely contact a trainer who works with dogs who are not friendly, who could get into the details of your dog, get into the details of what's going on to make sure that you have a good introduction to begin with. But if it's a generally friendly dog, then dogs tend to be very accepting of puppies. They understand their development. Little puppies can get away with things that juvenile dogs can't get away with when dealing with an adult dog. So,
Okay. Does your older, let's say, again, puppy's so cute, and like, yeah, let him do that, let him do that. Is your dog, your older dog, keeping score? Does it even work that way where, like if it was siblings, human siblings, one might be saying, wait a minute, you got ice cream. They didn't give me ice cream or whatever it might be. Do you think the older dog is keeping score saying, wait a minute, new kid in town. That one's getting all the privileges. Here I am over here. Do you think they're aware of that stuff?
I think dogs have an idea of fairness. I know that there's been studies done with other animals where you give one animal a grape and another animal a piece of celery, and they will kind of be like, "Hey, you got the grape for doing the same task. I got a piece of celery," and it's not fair. So I know that. I think that they can. I know that they can learn from each other.
Yep.
Like a dog that knows how to open a door can teach another dog how to open a door and things like that. So because they have that kind, they can, but I don't think they have jealousy the way that humans do.
Okay.
As long as you're taking care, I think they like equal, but it doesn't have to be exactly the same.
Okay.
Meaning
So they're
that
aware,
you might get
but
an extra scoop here and I get it.
they're aware, but they're not maybe not keeping exact score over things. We're going to go to another call in a sec, but I want to ask a question about an experience I had over the weekend. So my really good friend's girlfriend is a veterinarian, and she opened up a surgical center, like super cool. They had the police department canine crew there with their dogs. So I started talking to one of the officers about his dog, and he doesn't give his dog treats anymore. He's in short time, and he's been with this dog for, at least 3 years. In short time, it's been transferred to a ball on a string. And the dog looks at that ball like it is $1 million. Like that is everything. All that dog wants is a piece of plastic rubber. But that's the ticket. Is that advisable? Like,
Yeah.
it was cool. What's going on there?
It's definitely advisable, and it goes along with a lot of the ways that we want to train, right? We want to make training a game. Food is easier. In my experience, food is easier, it's quicker for the layperson, for the person who's working 40 hours and their job is not centered around dogs. They're not a canine officer.
Yep.
Food is a lot quicker. You're going to get a lot further faster with food. But food has limitations, especially when you're dealing with crime scenes and you don't want to contaminate. A ball is going to be easier, to be able to deal with a lot of times in food. And also the reward is withheld until the dog does the task, right? So food, you have to feed your canine, right? You can't not feed them. So the ball becomes a lot easier. So the dog gets the calories they need. They keep up their strength, but then you have your reward as something that is not mandatory,
Sure.
and that is helpful.
It's just
But
amazing
really,
how that's done, where I'm guessing that it addresses the dog's desire to chew. What are they wired to do? Eat. So with the ball in the mouth, he's getting that, and he likes it.
Some of it is that, right? The consumption, that feeling of I'm chewing on something. But the main part is the interaction with the person. The ball, the string is for the human to hold.
Right.
Right. So now we're connected by a string, and that's what dogs love more than anything else is our attention and our interaction.
I never thought of it that way. Wow. Let's go to another call. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Oh, beautiful. Who's this?
My name is Tricia.
Hey, Tricia, we got Martin. You got a question about a dog?
Yeah, actually I do. My dog has really bad separation anxiety. What can I do to alleviate that?
Simple thing, there's a bunch of things, but the biggest one is try when you're at home with your dog to create space. Work on teaching like a place command, things like that, and reward it a lot. That's gonna go a long way. Crate training, as I described earlier in this episode, that will go a long way. Anytime that you can make space from your dog while you're at home so they could kind of get used to that, that's gonna be helpful for you when they leave. When you leave the house. That's where I would start. If your dog gets really good at being calm in the crate, anywhere you put the crate, your dog will be calm. So
And
even if you go to a hotel, and you put the crate in the hotel, the dog is going to be calm in the hotel in the
and
crate.
you said before, and let me ask, do you keep your dog on your bed?
Yes, I do, actually.
Is that a
Yeah.
bad thing, Martin?
Well, it's 8 hours when we could start to teach the dog that they don't have to be that close to us. Every night we have an opportunity where we're like, hey, can you just build that muscle of being a little further away from me? Once they get it, they're welcome to get back on the bed.
Okay.
But you have to get it first, right? So that's what I would look at is try to look for ways to create space without without pushing them away too far. Crate games, Zen zone, place command, those kind of things can be really fun to teach a dog, and they do teach the dog how to have space.
Interesting. It's like I don't want my dog not to be on my bed because I actually like it. Like it's but if it is potentially creating separation anxiety, maybe not the best thing. Thank you very much for calling, by the way.
All right,
Just to
thank
jump
you.
in real quick,
Sure.
Steve, if you really love your dog being on the bed, that is okay too. The thing is that we want to start it, we want to invite them on, and then when we're done petting them and cuddling with them, make sure we send them off. Right? Because we're not cuddling the dog the whole night as we're sleeping. It's just in the beginning, and then when we wake up. So if we're careful with our timing there, then it should be okay for you to get your cuddles too.
You know what this seems to be? It's all about paying attention and intention. We're on autopilot. So you come home, dog jumps up, gets on your bed, everything's good. We're not even thinking that the bed, if your dog has separation anxiety, could be part of the issue there. So you really, and this is what we don't do because we're not trained to do this. So we're not seeing it like you do, Martin, because you're seeing it from a totally different lens. Honestly, if my dog had separation anxiety, I wouldn't even think of. What would you do? You put him on your bed. Oh no, let me comfort you. You get upset, and that's not the best thing. It's almost as if your dog freaks out with fireworks or loud noises, and then what do? You start petting them. Oh yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You're telling them it's okay to freak out.
Right.
We don't look at it that way.
That is true. When we pet them, we pet them for the things that we love.
Yeah, we
Right?
love. Yeah.
So by petting a dog that's having an anxiety problem, we're telling them that we like your anxiety problem.
Right.
Right. So that's tricky. The fireworks, I'm going to talk about that real quick because a lot of people have that problem. Thunderstorms, fireworks. What I do is when I'm playing with the dog, I get a YouTube video of fireworks or thunderstorms and I play it really quietly as we're playing. So if I'm playing tug of war, it'll be playing in the background.
Wow.
And then slowly over time, I turn it up. So the dog associates, hey, engagement, being with my owner, doing things and, getting attention with that sound. And in time, what could start to happen is as soon as the fireworks start, the dog comes running to you, looking to play instead of hiding in the closet, hiding under the bed, getting in the bathtub.
What a great idea. This is why you do what you do. How do we connect with you, Martin? What's the best way?
If you just look out for argostraining.com. If you go there, you're going to be able to find me. You're going to be able to connect through our contact us button there. But I'm also on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I'm on, I think I have a Facebook thing too. You can reach out through any of those. But the quickest way is argostraining.com.
ARGOS training.com. One of the most important things I want to point out here is you can do this virtually for anybody. People make videos, they send them to you, you analyze them, you give them feedback, and it's on your time. How fantastic is that? Yeah.
And things like separation anxiety, a trainer doesn't need to come to your home to solve that problem.
Wow.
You know, as a matter of fact, coming to your home could inadvertently make that a harder problem.
Thank you for today. Wow. We covered a lot. Little more centered on puppies. That's just the way it is, which is fantastic. And I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much, Steve. It was a pleasure.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.